We're very excited to have Sir Martin Sorrel of
Even at this time in the morning, cold day in Davos. Yeah.
Sir Martin Sorrel of S4 Capital, advertising guru. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for joining us on Money Control. Sir Martin, WEF has just released a survey of their economists. More than half of them are pessimistic about the world this year.
Yeah. Only means we should be optimistic.
The opposite is often
The
true.
opposite is probably true. Yes.
But
That's the devil's lesson. Yeah.
But what's your sense of 2024 and what's your sense of India? Because you've been an India bull for a very long time.
Be pessimistic on the world and be optimistic on India.
That's a great headline.
To be simple, yeah. Well, we've got an election in India. I think probably Modi will be re-elected, and I think that's good for India and probably good for the world. It's somewhat controversial for some people, but having said that, he's the ultimate master on branding and branding countries, and I think he's done a superb job on positioning India. And if you look at GDP growth in India last year and the projections for this year, they embarrass a number of other countries. I think the G7 is now being eclipsed by the E7, and if you nix out the US and China and have an E6 and a G6, the E6 is still bigger than the G6. So these fast-growing countries are not emerging, they've emerged. So in the context of Asia, obviously with the geopolitical issues around US and China, around Russia and Ukraine and Iran, and the terrible conflict in the Middle East, given all that, I think, particularly in relation to the first, India is the go-to market as an alternative to China in Asia. So India is very well positioned, very strong growth, and by 2050, India will be the third largest economy in the world, already the most populous country on the planet. So I remain a raging bull.
Right. One thing that we cannot not talk about these days is AI.
Yeah.
What's your sense of how AI is going to impact advertising and creativity?
The Forum have issued their risk report and placed AI at the sort of top of the list. I'm not mistaken, which I think probably is maybe fair in the longer term, but in the short term or the medium term, the three risks I mentioned before, along obviously with climate change, not forgetting that, remain the biggest risk. I mean, AI has huge opportunities in our industry. I mean, it will it is another industrial revolution, as big as the internet or as big as the smartphone or the iPhone. So it is incredibly important, but with it comes challenges. We have, I think, half the planet, about 4.2 billion, going to go to the polls this year or have the opportunity to go to the polls. So really, in 70 countries, we're having elections around the world, and it's inevitable that bad actors will misbehave and use AI. On the other hand, it's inevitable also that AI will inform voters, but they will also misinform. I think the key issue for the industry, as these tech giants, that's Alphabet and Meta and Amazon and Alibaba, Tencent and ByteDance, those are the six big players. They account for at least 450 billion of the 650 billion in digital marketing out of a total of 950 billion last year. So the big players are the ones, and they will get bigger as a result of AI. They have to impose self-regulation. I think it's pretty hopeless for the regulator to believe that they can keep up with all these tech giants. The UK CMA added 300 people. Good luck. You won't be able to keep up. So you have to work with the tech giants to self-regulate as much as impose regulation on them.
Right. Final couple of questions, Sir Martin. India's media landscape is also changing rapidly with low, cost internet, data and content explosion. What's your outlook on the Indian market from a company point of view and as someone who's seen India evolve many years when you ran WPP?
It's super important. It's top of the agenda for many. Some people hesitate to invest. Their private equity probably has been slower than it should be. They like regular markets, established markets, rule of law markets, so they naturally tend to gravitate towards the US and maybe some European countries. But I think increasingly, the world's gaze, 3 of the top 5 countries by 2050 will be Asian countries. So 3 of the Premier League or the IPL countries will be in Asia. It'll be India at number 3 after China and the US, and then Indonesia and Germany, or Germany and Indonesia. So 3 of the top 5 will be in Asia. So some talk about this being the decade of Asia. I mean, it started a long time ago, and India is really the leader of new Asia, if I can put it like that. Japan and Australia and New Zealand continue to be important, but India, Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, the Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, what I call new Asia, is really coming to the fore.
Right. On that note, thank you very much, Sir Martin, for talking to us at the World Economic Forum.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.